Okay. All righty. You're all set. Take it away.
Okay. Let me, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So, here we go. Okay, can you guys all see that?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay, so basically with Command, I'm just gonna walk you guys through how to initiate your opportunity and how to get your file approved. And at the end of this, I've compiled all my notes into a document that I can share with you. Just shoot me an email and I'll forward it to you. I've got links for some of the necessary items for file approval, just in case you're interested in how to do it. I've got tutorials embedded in my notes. So you have access to that as well. So first thing you're gonna wanna do is go to the contact section. You need to input your contact first when you're initiating your opportunity. You can't just input it as you're starting the opportunity. This is the first step. So what you're gonna wanna do, let me move this over. Okay, so we're gonna go to add contact. You'll put, Kim, is it okay if I input some info into, just test info into your?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
okay,
of course.
Okay, so we'll say this is John Smith. What you're going to want to do is input the email address, all the contact details in here. So we'll say johns@gmail.com. Phone number, any of this. And then, if there's another a co-contact that you want to add, they're not someone that's necessarily going to be a party of the transaction. You'll see the drop down here. You can select the relationship. Maybe it's someone that thinks you're doing a great job, you want to follow up with, have their information on file. You can add them here. Email address is like the basics that I input when I'm initiating an opportunity for my agents. So I'll hit create. Okay, and then after you've created it, you can search it here, John Smith. Always make sure it's taken. Now, if you're on a team and you're initiating an opportunity, this is going to be linked to your name as the agent. So what you'll do is you'll click into the contact, go to these three dots here, change account, and then you'll obviously switch it here to whatever team you're on so that it's associated with the team, and then you'll be able to access it when you're initiating your opportunity. Otherwise, it's not going to show up when you go to initiate. Okay, so we've got our contact initiated. We'll go to our opportunities right here, the handshake icon.
Joe, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Sometimes in the beginning, if the agent may not have a lot of contact information about the particular person, can they start the process just with the name or just with the name and phone number or something?
Name is fine. That's just my method of doing it is, I typically as a TC have the client's email address, because the point that I'm in the picture is like, we've got a contract or an escrow, I'm sending out disclosures via DocuSign. So that's the bare minimum that I'm provided with. So I always make sure that's input. But yeah, you can definitely just input your client's name if you don't have the full contact details. And that it'll show up here and edit it. Yeah, it's editable. Yeah. You can go back, you can change it, add more information. So next step, when you're initiating the actual opportunity, you'll come here. You're going to want to make sure that your market center is the office that you're associated with. It should auto-populate for you. Obviously, team information will auto-populate. This one right here, opportunity type, listing is going to be the default. So if you're buy side, make sure that you go through and change this. If it's a lease, obviously landlord tenant, just make sure that you go in and change this, because once it's selected, I believe you're going to have to reach out to the market center to either have it removed and reinitiated. I don't think in my experience that I've been able to go back and change it. So owner should always be, it should auto-populate your agent name here. And then client. So you'll see the drop-down bar here. This is why we initiated the contact first. So we'll type in John Smith. It's not going to show up because we need to change it. So we'll go to John. Here he's at. Change account, team name. And now that you've changed the association, you'll be able to search it in the opportunity. Okay, John. And there he is. And now custom tags, these are used at your discretion. I personally don't input them for my agents. It's used to identify an audience, phase, or stage. They're customizable. And in my notes, I've got a direct link to a YouTube tutorial that can kind of walk you through how to input these, what they're used for. It goes into all the details. Now the estimated closing date, you'll see the drop down here. If this is just a, you're not under contract yet, you're not in escrow yet, just in like a consultation phase maybe, the client's giving you like a time frame for when they want to purchase, you can, select the date here. Maybe it's a couple months out, say September 9th. And now you'll notice that if you're in the listing phase, you'll have the commission handy. Typically, you know what your client, what's going to be uploaded to the MLS in terms of commission, what you've got signed on your RLA. So you'll input this here. And now this is going to be reflected in your GCI potential income section over here. So if you're buy side, and you don't have the commission info handy, you're just going to estimate so you have an idea of what's going to be populated in here. Time frame, this also reflects like how much time out the buyer's looking to make a purchase or seller's looking, and this is only going to be for buy side transactions, I'm sorry. So how much time until the buyer's going to want to make their purchase. Budget, kind of self-explanatory. You'll put in how much they're looking to spend. We'll make this one a listing because when we go to upload documents, it'll have the full breakdown of everything required. So we'll say it's 2.5. And now opportunity phase, you're going to have the 3 options here. When I step in as a TC, typically it's going to be active. And then the stage is going to be, corresponding to whatever phase you're in. So you'll select from the drop down here. You'll see the assignee. You can add an assignee, like typically it's used if you have an assistant or if you're on a team, and they'll be able to see exactly what's going on in the opportunity throughout the transaction. So we'll hit create. Oh boy, we'll just remove this. We'll go back. Sorry, Kim, I didn't realize that yours was a little bit different than what I'm used to working with.
That's okay. That's what I was afraid of. Maybe mine would look different.
It's just, yeah, some of this should auto-populate, but it's not. Here we go. We'll re-input. We'll make this one just under your personal. Listing, Excel, King Jordan. Sorry, closing dates, something right. Okay, there we are. Okay, so next we're going to be in the detail section. Your market center, all the information that you input is going to be reflected here. You'll click on the pencil icon. If you're in escrow and you've got all this information handy, you've got a fully executed contract, you'll switch this from opportunity phase active to under contract. It's going to ask you for the closing date. We've already input the estimated closing date. You're going to want to input the contract date. So the date reflected on the RPA, let's say it's the 15th. Okay, confirm your commission info. This can be edited. So let's say it was changed to 2% for whatever reason. And we're going to save. Next is your property. This is how the MCA is going to be able to search for your file when they're looking to do the file audit for review and approval. We'll say it's 1234 Main Street. Sure, Sumner, Washington. Okay, seller worksheet. This is, this is not something that I typically fill out for my agents. I have agents that don't use it. I'm not sure if your specific brokerage wants to see this information. I don't input it, but it's information that you should have on a seller's net sheet that you obtain from escrow, and information that the seller provides you with, like in terms of like HOA dues, taxes. So I'm gonna skip past this, and all of this I've got in my notes. Like all this information, my notes are very detailed. I know I'm going a little bit quick. I don't imagine we'll take the full hour. Anyways, we'll go into the document section. This is where you're going to select the transaction type. So residential, vacant land, commercial, any of these, we'll say it's a residential. And now here's where you're going to be able to upload your fully executed documents. Let me move this. Now, so this is the listing phase. You upload your listing docs. This obviously won't be here if you're representing the buyer. You're going to have the under contract and close are going to be what you're focusing on. So you'll upload your listing docs here. I heard someone mention they wanted to know how to attach the multiple files. That's this icon right here. And then easiest way for me is I've got my Finder open on my Mac. I just drag and drop, you know, whatever file it is into these items, attach, and you'll see the line items here. Okay, then we'll go to under contract. Now, this is a good resource for you. You know, if you don't have your broker checklist handy, it's going to give you a breakdown of everything that's required for file approval. And this is how you're going to get your file approved. You're going to want to upload everything as you're receiving it. So like once you get the listing agreement, upload it, contract, upload it. And then when everything is uploaded, hit submit. You could do this 2, 3, 4, 5 times, you know, but you want your MCA to review everything that you're uploading ASAP, because, you know, if you have signatures missed, maybe a document is uploaded to the wrong section, you have it, you don't have it, they need to know so that you're not scrambling at closing to obtain signatures or find missing documents and get them into the respective line items.
Joe, can I ask a question real fast? Going back to the multiple files, I've had a couple agents sometimes where, for whatever reason, when they downloaded contracts that they were trying, like from DocuSign or something, they were trying to upload them here, they were attached, like different contracts attached together. And I tried to tell them, you know, well, you could separate the different contracts and upload them individually here, but they didn't have Adobe and they didn't know how to do that. So in that case, would you use that feature with the multiple? Is that okay? Or how would you?
The way I do it personally is you know, I'm working off a Mac. So I will, you know, do I have something here that's not really specific? Let's see. Well, you know, I've got this, say that, you know, I've got this document and I want to attach multiple files. This has 2 pages. You'll see the thumbnails here. And if I want to attach, say, the WFA to the BLVIA, I just drag and drop it here. And then I've got everything that's required to upload in this. Instead of attaching multiple files, you just condense it into one PDF. That's how I typically do it. That's what works best for me. So, you know, it's totally up to you.
Okay, so.
Was that your question?
Well, yeah, because I was just curious how they would, you know, get those documents that are required all checked off if there happens to be a couple of them that are combined. Do you know what I mean?
Like if you mean like how to break it up?
Yes, because that was the situation I've had a few times where agents will say, well, I have 2 documents that are combined, but I need to be able to separate them to to check off the required part. So does the attach multiple files help you in that situation, or no? Because that's still just.
I personally, I don't really, I maybe used it once. I will break everything up just by, you know, again, I'm working off a Mac. So let me find something. Where's that? Something that doesn't have all this info on it. You know, let's use
correct, this. But I in this, the last time that happened, there were 2 documents combined, and I told them just upload it for the one and upload it again for the other, because I just wanted them to be able to.
You guys will see it multiple times though, and I'm sure it gets confusing if you're, you know, seeing the same document uploaded multiple times. Yeah. So let's say with this, you know, I'll go, here's my EQ book. Let's say I just want page 1. I'll go file, print. And then we'll do 1 to 1, or let's do 1 to 15. Oh, and then save as PDF.
Okay, that's
exactly what I do too.
And you rename it, and that's the easiest way. That's what I do. I really use the tools on Mac in terms of like breaking up or combining documents, because sometimes you'll have stuff that's signed in counterparts, and you want to get it uploaded to the line item. You can only add the one file unless you're attaching the multiple. So I'll my trick is, I pull this up and I've got my thumbnails here, and then I just drag and drop whatever it is into the next page. Yeah.
Yeah, if they're using car forms, and that's what I do because car forms is free, you can split documents in car forms, because that's what I usually do. I'll split whatever I needed, according to my checklist, and then I'll go and I'll drag and drop, and I'll put them into my command. So that's an automatic feature in there.
Yeah, whatever's working best for you. Me as the TC, I'm getting the documents from my agent as there. Like typically they'll send me the fully executed contract. It's got all the corresponding documents, like the buyer's agency disclosure, PRBS, FHDA, all that good stuff. And I have to break it up my own manually. But if you've got something, tool like CAR that's gonna help you do it a little bit faster and expedite the process, then yeah, definitely use that. This is what's worked for me in the past. Yeah,
because I want to get a Mac too.
Yeah, they're great. There's so many features on it. It makes my job so much easier, honestly. Yeah, so you've got your checklist here. You'll see what they flagged as requirements, what's optional. Obviously, based on the date, or if there's an HOA, some of these things are going to be required, they're not. And again, always make sure that you're hitting that submit button. I myself, I'm guilty of doing my upload and being like, okay, I'm waiting for the MCA to audit it, and 2 days goes by and I log back in and I'm like, shoot, I didn't hit submit. They're not prompted to do the file audit, and now I'm holding up file review, and I don't know what I may have missed. My job is to review everything, make sure it all checks out, it's fully executed, everyone's signed where they need to sign, all information's input, but sometimes things are overlooked, sometimes things are missed. That's why it's good to have the MCA review as soon as possible. So that's our document section. Once you've got all of, at least your contract uploaded, you're going to want to go to the offers and commissions. Now, I typically touch base with my agent. I say, hey, if we're buy side, are we going to be requesting any repairs, any credits, has appraisal come in? I just want to make sure that when I'm doing this, our purchase price is pretty much going to be what it's at. So in offers and commissions, we'll go to add an offer. I typically name it the buyer's last name or full name. We'll just say Smith offer. We'll hit create offer. And then we've got the offer date. So that's going to be our contract date. It's not going to populate what the information that we previously put in the details section. I believe we said it was the 15th. Closing date, we'll input our estimated close date. I believe we said that was the 9th. And then we'll go to the parties. So you'll see whichever side you're representing, their information's already populated. You've got your info down here. We're list side on this one. And we'll say Jane Smith is our buyer for this one. Then you're going to want to put their agent name, who we're going to say Mark Smith. Their contact details aren't necessary. You'll see the red asterisks next to the required information. You're probably not going to have the other agent's client's contact details. Feel free to input this here. Me, myself, I put the agent name, client buyer name, and then I'll hit terms. This is where you're going to input the breakdown that's reflected on the RPA and should also be reflected on most escrow instructions. So cash amount, let's say it's an all cash deal for $955. You'll see this here, EMD, you'll put down here. Now, if there's going to be the finance terms, you're going to have to do the math. You'll take the cash amount, which will be the EMD amount, the additional funds buyers to bring in prior to close of escrow, and then the loan amount here. So we'll say this is an all cash deal, EMD is 8,000. And then, I typically, if there's going to be like a seller credit, we're going to have an amendment and an addendum reflecting that should be uploaded. you're probably not going to know if you're doing this early on whether there's going to be like seller, unless it's specified on your RPA, whether seller's going to be crediting anything, you know, towards buyer's closing costs or, you know, paying for whatever residential service contract. This is the information that I will input: EMD amount and the loan amount, cash amount. We'll go to your analysis. I don't touch this part as the TC. You know, if you've got anything that you need to input here, this is a great tool, great database for you to use. As the TC, I don't input this. I don't have the information that you're gonna have. So we'll hit save. Okay, then you're gonna see your offers here. It's ready to go. You can input multiple offers if need be. You can even even if you accept this, you know, something happens, you always have the option once you've input your commission breakdown and submitted to terminate the offer. So here we are, we're in our offer. We'll go to edit the general information. And now, you know, I had put in my notes, in my experience, I don't know if command has been updated or what, but the contract date for whatever reason previously would not populate, even though we put it in a couple times in the detail section and in our offer section. Just the other day when I was going through and, you know, compiling my notes, I noticed, hey, it's actually doing it now. So that's great. So our information is going to be reflected here. Confirm your commission amount and the dollar amount. I like to get a copy of the commission instructions, make sure that that matches up. That way, you know, if there's a discrepancy, you know, hey, either, you know, on buy side, listing agent has this on the MLS that the buyer's agent's commission should be a certain amount. That's not what's reflected on the commission instructions. I've either got to touch base with the listing agent or reach out to escrow and say, hey, what's going on? So we'll save changes. This should auto populate. Now, under your agent details, this is where you're going to input. You'll see your breakdown, anything going to the office, additional deductions. You know, it'll ask you when you submit, do you want to make any donations? I'll show you what that's all about. But here, say you've got, you know, say you're going to pay either your TC through your commission or maybe home warranty through commission. My method is I'll input it as a deduction. We'll put the fee amount, say it's for your TC, $350. Description, TC fee paid to John Smith Jr. You'll have to input their address and phone number, and especially if it's your TC. Let's do this. You'll want to input their email address here. I like to make sure that the MCA has it on file because before I submit, we'll add this. You'll see it breaks down here. They've added the $350 fee, save changes. You'll see this change. Now I input the contact details of, you know, my TC or whoever I'm paying out, just so the MCA has on file, you know, who we're paying, and if I need to contact them for any further information, you know, they can just go in here and pull that info from here. So now we've got, you know, your commissions reflected here, your breakdowns here, your additions are here. Now, before you submit, you know, your MCA is not typically going to know who, you know, escrow is going to be. I think best practice is to enter your escrow officer's email address here. I'll typically leave a note saying, please forward a copy of the CDA to escrow officer. I'll make another one, also forward to Joe at pacificctc.com. You know, and hopefully they see this, they know, hey, this is, you know, this will expedite getting the CDA over to escrow. We'll get it to my TC as well so they can review. And, you know, I like to forward it to my agents and say, hey, this is what I just received. Everything looks good on my end. Can you please approve this? And then I'll confirm with escrow saying, hey, this has my agent's approval. CDA is good to go.
Joe, could you touch on again where the agent or the TC, but where the agent would enter notes about credits, credit to the buyer?
Yeah, I mean, you can use, I've used this because, you know,
okay.
we have, I'll let the MCA know here. There is this like edit agent payment. You can go down here, add item. Mm-hmm. Now, I've used concession previously. It can get a little bit confusing. So you'll enter the dollar amount here, concession on the closing statement, you know, we'll say it's $200. We'll say yes off the top. Now this is where in the past I've said, hey, I don't know if it's coming off the top, is the market center paying? But I'll enter it here, I'll add it, and then in the notes section, I'll say concession is a credit to seller or concession is a credit to buyer. So I don't know
Okay.
if that's what worked best for the MCA. But the way I learned it was to, you know, input it in the notes section so your MCA is aware, and then they can add it to that CDA.
Okay, and then one other thing I wanted to ask you, and I'm sorry because you already passed this part, but I was just wondering, when they upload the documents, did you, and I apologize if you already said this, did you let them know where that little clipboard is if they wanted to ask a question to compliance?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Or to no,
Yeah.
to the clients, or, you know, if there's anything, for me, there's like this add comment section here. So say I just had this happen, the MCA said, hey, we need the, I don't see it reflected here, but there was the RLA CAA populated as a requirement in command. And I'm sure you all know that that's no longer, you can't even access it in zip forms anymore. So I had done my initial upload, everything was there, and then the RLA CAA and PDES were still flagged as required. So I just went up here and said, hey, RLA CAA is no longer required, left my note, added reply. This makes sure that your MCA is going to be able to see, you know, what's going on. And then, you know, right after that, I logged in the next day, and the list section was approved. So they got my note.
I don't know why I thought you had to put the @ sign and then direct it to a particular individual in order for that person to read it without fail.
It says that up here, but, you know, I've used this to communicate in the past, and, you know, from the MCA, because when I worked with the KW Pacific States Long Beach office, we were really tight with the MCA. Kristen, I was on Kristen Fish TC team, and her best friend was actually the MCA, and her goddaughter was working as the MCA assistant. So maybe there was communication there, but they always asked us to leave these notes in here for them. And you've got, you know, your notes section over here where you can input any notes, add notes. I'm sure they're able to see this. This is just how I've done it in the past.
And then when they reply to you, you would have a little notification on your bell, right?
Yeah. And, you know, you'll see here, they'll usually leave notes for you, like something's missing, like signature missing or box not checked, depending, you know, on how strict the MCA office is going to be with your file approval. Some of them want to see every single line item completed, dates, I's dotted, T's crossed. So you'll see your notes here, and then typically this is where I'll push back and say, hey, you know, I've got X, Y, and Z. This is all we're getting. You know, I'll upload email correspondence or whatever need be.
And Joe, the checklists that are here, if you have a listing, do those items, those documents include, you know, the CAR forms that you need plus the KW addendums in this checklist?
Yeah. So you've got your KW ABA here. So me, I'm working a few files with Coastal Properties. So I uploaded the KW ABA signed by seller. You'll go under contract, and you'll see it ask for it again for the fully executed copy. Yeah, so it's got everything that's required for CAR. You know, and I did notice I had touched base with the Coastal Properties MCA, because I was like, hey, you know, I've got this reflected on our broker checklist, but I don't see a line item for it. Now, if you have additional files, you know, like say it's like a KW mold disclosure and you need to add this, you know, it's a requirement, it's on the checklist, but you don't see it in here, or you have additional broker disclosures, you can go to add item, enter the document name. We'll say it's, you know, an SBT. Select the document type. It's a disclosure, and then you can drag and drop your file from, you know, your Finder here. We'll just, I don't know if I have anything, but you'll save it, and it'll show up at the bottom over here as your additional item that you've uploaded. And you can do this, you know, as many times as you want. Like sometimes I have the other brokerage that's pulled every disclosure under the sun, and we've got like 50 pages of disclosures that are signed, and, you know, you want to have them for your records. So I'll just continue adding items, each line item, and they'll keep populating down here. So you see them, you have them on file. And let me see if I've got anything else. I mean, I think that about covers it, just for getting your file approved. And then obviously, if for some reason you get your CDA, it's incorrect, doesn't reflect all the debits from commission, you contact your MCA, ask them to revise and resend. And once that commissions tab is submitted, you'll see the deductions if you want to make any of your donations. Here it is. You'll see it here. Let's go back here. Submitted. Go back to view commission. If something changes and you need, like, say this offer falls through, we're canceling escrow, you'll request a termination. And then we're good. Does anyone have any questions on uploading, file approval? Did I miss anything? No one? Hello?
Looks good.
Okay. And again, I've compiled like 5 pages of notes that go step by step with like how to initiate an opportunity, upload documents. I've got the links for, you know, any additional items that you guys are interested in. So just shoot me an email at joe@pacificctc.com and I can forward that to you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Kim.